Welcome to the Z Truth Podcast, where we have transparent, real, and thought-provoking conversations. Your host is Zakira Casado, the author of 15 Social Media Secrets That Pay.
Hello, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the Truth Podcast. I hope you guys are having a fantastic week, and we have some exciting things to talk about. And I'm going to talk about some history so that we can all learn from it, because sometimes history repeats, and we don't want to repeat some of this history, right? But it's not bad stuff. It's not bad stuff, but it ain't good stuff either. And so before I get into don't be complacent in all things in life, I want to give a shout out to Relax Tune Spa. If you haven't gotten one of them massages, you need to go get one. I don't know if I said this in the last previous shows, but they use the same techniques as acupuncture does. So you're not just getting a regular massage, y'all. Like, you're going to be coming out healed and ready to do a backflip. Maybe not a backflip, but the bottom line is, if you go, make sure you use the code ZG1504 so that you can get 70 whole minutes for $49. I'm going to repeat it after I sneeze. This is real, y'all. $49 will get you 70 minutes as long as you use the code ZG1504 or 1504. Okay, with that being said, let's get into it. I don't know why I'm about to sneeze again. Sneeze, go away. Sorry. Okay, don't be complacent. So this is kind of a spinoff of last week's episode. I really wanted to share these things because last week we talked about business and starting a business, right? And now I want to talk about once you're involved in business, right? And I want you guys to please go back and listen and watch if you haven't watched the other episode, because it's really going to help this part, right? Because we talked about starting. I want to talk about when you get good. A lot of times, and not just in business, in relationships, this can happen. In friendships, this can happen. One of the things that we forget is how to retain business, how to retain relationships, how to retain health, how to retain growing spiritually and emotionally and all of that, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and financially. One of the main things that I feel we do too much is that we become complacent. We become okay in the now and forgetting about what it took to get to where you are and being open-minded to it. And when we become too complacent and we become too stuck in our ways, you can miss out on a lot of good shit. You know what I mean? Like, now let me just say this as a preference in regards to relationships. I believe in relationships, it's a little bit different in the aspect that sometimes you have to learn in order to find your person. That's what I believe. And the reason that we talked about that movie before in the last episode, Acrony, right? I feel like in that, is it Acrimony or Acrony? Something like that. Anyway, it's with the girl, TG. What's her name? Taji, yeah. And Taji, if she would have just been happy for him that he made it and moved on with her life, then when she attracted her new mate, she's already learned that lesson, right? Same difference in my personal life. There are things that I learned about myself in my past relationships that I know that in a new relationship, I can bring even more of a value because I've already learned that, right? And so it's slightly different, but not totally different from even in the world of business or in let's just go to spiritually. A lot of times people think healing is a job that just happens and that's it. I'm here to let you know it doesn't. Like with me, I've had a physical knee injury before, right? And my physical knee injury caused me to sometimes need to ice. Sometimes need to do these things, right? So I definitely want to make sure that you guys understand that. So I had a knee injury, and because I had a knee injury, even though it's been 2 years, like today we had a scrimmages, or not today when it's aired, it won't be today, but I had played a couple scrimmages. I'm feeling achy, so I might have to do a few things. I may still have to ice my knee. Taking an Epsom salt bath will help take down the pressure off of my hips. It's maintenance that happens. So that's physically, but even emotionally, if you have had trauma in your life, y'all, you have to be consistent in your development. You have to be consistent in doing whatever it took you to recognize the trauma, heal the trauma, and move on from the trauma. Because the thing is, I had this example for me in 2025. I'm over here thinking I'm the Buddha monk, right? Oh, I've had all these experiences. I've had this happen. I've had that happen. But I haven't been able to go off my rockets in a long time, right? Then I had an experience in 2025 that reminded me of the gangster that lives dormant inside of me. And I know a lot of you like, oh my God, Z, you don't got no gangster. You better talk to my friends in New Jersey, okay? It was a point in my life where slapping a hoe would be real easy and very, very fast, right? But when you grow and you continue to grow and you continue to add things in your life, certain things are not worth it. Certain arguments are not worth it. Certain conversations are not worth it. Certain responses are not worth it, but that still takes a maintenance. You cannot get complacent in your healing, and you should not, because you can do it. You should not be complacent in even physically. Somebody right now can, like last year, I literally lost 43 pounds, y'all. 43. And if I don't maintain and I become complacent and not doing the things that got me there, because I was really struggling putting these jeans on. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. I was squeezing and doing all of that and jumping, what Beyonce say, if you ain't gotta jump in your jeans, you don't feel my pain. But those ain't on ice. Let me stop. Okay, so I'm saying that to say you cannot be complacent in anything in your life that you want to maintain. Let's get to business, because I got a story that I know lots of people don't know. But I'm going to date myself and show my age. I don't know how old Mackenzie is. I think we're the same age, actually. So you remember Blockbuster. Okay. For the youngins, what they call them, YNs. We're not going to call y'all that. For the young Ks and the young Qs, y'all got my acronym? The young kings and queens. I want to tell y'all about Blockbuster was like a physical Netflix, right? Where I probably shouldn't have said, I just gave up the story. But basically what we used to do is we would go to Blockbuster, you would go inside and you literally would rent movies and video games. That was my favorite. And then after about 4 or 5 days, you return them. If you didn't return them, you got a late fee. But that was like an exchanging store where you keep exchanging it and you keep, and that way you didn't have to buy. And when I really think about it, I don't even understand why we just didn't buy the DVDs and buy the cassettes. It had to be cheaper. It had to make sense, but it was an experience. Blockbuster was an experience. But after a few years, 2 gentlemen went up to the Blockbuster owners and said, I got an idea. Let's take what you do, but let's make it digital where people don't have to go. Because when Blockbuster was around, you had to go there. You couldn't call and say, hey. You can call and say, hey, do you got this movie? Do you got this video game? Do you got this show? Is it on DVD? Is it on VH1? Is it called VH tapes?
VHS.
VHS. I knew it was another letter. VHS. You literally had to physically go there, where Netflix, if y'all remember in the beginning of Netflix, you would mail the DVDs and they would mail it back. And that's how you would do their exchange. And then eventually they became digital, which is why none of you know who Blockbuster is if you were born after probably 1990 or 95. Because Blockbuster ignored them. Blockbuster became complacent in business. Blockbuster thought, oh my God, we're doing so great. Ain't no way these little dumb kids gonna have an idea this is gonna be stupid. Versus really listening to them. I think they offered them like 50 million back then, I believe. Don't quote me on that number, but I believe I'm like 75% sure. I think it was like 50 million or something like that. I could be wrong, but something like that. But they went to them, they asked, and because we get stuck in our ways, because we get stuck in our plan, or not our plan, we get stuck in how we do things, that it is a grave mistake to ignore innovation in business. Okay? Grave mistake. That's just like smartphone. I don't know if y'all know this, but BlackBerry used to laugh at Apple because BlackBerry thought nobody would want a phone that you could actually touch the screen like this. They thought y'all remember BlackBerry used to have that little button in the middle. Mm-hmm. So I said in one show, you gotta believe in your vision, but they believed in that goddamn vision so bad that they just believed that little dumb button was going to keep people from wanting a touch screen. That's why we don't know what BlackBerry is. If you were born the last 25 years, you don't know what BlackBerry is, because BlackBerry became obsolete because they ignored innovation. And again, you can't do that. Well, you can, just like Blockbuster, and you can just like BlackBerry, and that's why we don't know who they are. I do think BlackBerry still has some phones.
I think they're about to come out with something new.
Yeah.
But I would take it a step further with Toys R Us. Like,
yes.
They didn't trust in themselves to start their own website, and they gave their business to Amazon, which eventually faded
That's why
them
you don't
out.
see them. Amazon as well. I mean, not just Toys R Us, but also Sears. Sears used to be killed what used to be the Walmart of all. Everybody loved Sears. They became obsolete for the same reason. The same exact reason. I'm trying to think of another one. You brought up, who was it you just said?
Toys R Us.
It was Toys R Us. It was Blockbuster, Sears. It was one more. Damn it. I can't think of who it is. It's going to come back to me. So I say that to say, when you just cannot be complacent. You cannot become complacent in any part of your world, because things change. That is the inevitable. It has to change. You know what I mean? Because we are species that are always trying to find a different way. And so if you're in business, you can't do that. Well, like I said, you can, but you should not. You should not do that. And the reason I feel like you shouldn't do that, because there could be a moment of collaboration versus a moment of your death in business. Because that's the thing. You know what I mean? And so, yes, Amazon, another one, Kmart. Kmart lost to Walmart. And I know this sounds stupid, but the one thing Kmart didn't have, the smallest thing, y'all, that Walmart has in every Walmart, is good lighting. And I don't know if y'all remember, when you walk into a Kmart, it was dark. It wasn't lit. It wasn't vibrant. It wasn't, and this is not really even innovation. This is like an upgrade to your space. And you know, I wonder if companies went out and like put people in there to see if why is this business more successful than mine? And when it came down to it and broke it down, it was all because of lighting. You walk in Walmart, it's lit. It's a different department store vibe than Kmart, okay? Damn it, I can't think of the last one. It's one that's so, Radio Shack? Who took Radio Shack out? Best Buy? Okay, yeah. I mean, do they even have any more Radio Shacks? Damn. Radio Shack is shacked up because we don't know who they are if you wasn't born last year. I feel like I've seen them before I moved here. I feel like I went there one time before I moved here back home. But yes, Radio Shack is another one. Thank you, Amber. She also, I forgot to mention also real quick, shameless plug, Visual Dynasty. They are behind the scenes doing their things. You hear Darnell, you hear Amber. If you ever need any kind of work for your digital experience or production or videos, definitely check out Visual Dynasty. So again, you cannot become complacent because you will become Blockbuster. You will have to watch Netflix and hear that dum dum sound. Do you know how pissed off they have to be? I mean, really think about that. But hopefully they took these moments and did not. Matter of fact, I'm gonna give a book. I would love giving them a book. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Is it Think and Grow Rich? Ooh, it might not be Think and Grow Rich. Yes, it is. I believe it is. And there's a story in there where they talk about being 3 feet from gold. I believe that's Think and Grow Rich. Hey Siri, is there a chapter called 3 Feet from Gold in Think and Grow Rich?
Okay, I found this on the web is there a chapter called 3 Feet from Gold and Think and Grow Rich?
Okay, so let me just tell a story. So basically the guy, he went minding, and is this Think and Grow Rich? I'm so curious to know if it is. Yes, it is. It is. Okay. So in the book Think and Grow Rich, this guy basically buys out and puts all his life savings in buying these mines because he was so convinced that there were gold in the mines. And so he went out there, him and himself, and I think a couple of his friends was digging for like weeks upon weeks upon weeks upon weeks. And so this other guy, he was like, there's no gold, got frustrated, gave up. And this other guy was like, hey, yeah, I'll buy it. And then all he sold it for was enough to get his money back, right? And long story short, this guy had hired whatever, there's like veins of different material in the ground, right? So I don't know about that stuff, okay? I ain't even going to try to explain that part to you. But basically, he hired an expert that basically knew how to find the veins of different material, in this case, gold. And do you know that they were only 3 feet away? That man was 3 feet away from all the gold that he knew was in that mine. I think he found like a nugget one day and was like, I gotta hurry up and get the gold. And then he put all his life savings in digging. But it was just that he was just ignorant just means, y'all, that he don't know. But he was ignorant to how it works. Like, he didn't know that if he gets a piece of gold here, then he probably just needs to go on this angle versus digging down this way, which he probably did. Where this guy was smart enough to think, okay, well, let me just hire an expert to find where else would the gold be since he already found it here. You get me? And he was 3 feet away from it. That means don't quit before the blessing, y'all. Okay, please don't do that. Don't quit before the blessing. You be right there and people quit, and then their blessing is literally knocking at the door. It's one person away, one client away, one whatever away, and here you are doing the same thing. So don't be complacent. Going into transparent moments, like I know for me, and I mentioned this earlier, we talked about it physically, holistically. Like you can't not maintain your body, okay? Especially in 2026, because the reality is especially if you live in America, and I always preach this on this podcast, we have so much up against us because our food is trash, right? And because our food is so terrible, this is why we have to do so much for ourselves on the back end. You cannot depend on Uncle Sam to provide you good food. You cannot depend on restaurants to provide you with good, healthy food either, because at the end of the day, they got to make a couple dollars too, right? And they might not use the right butter that's not going to give you cholesterol, especially here, because they don't even mandate it here. If we was in Europe, it would be different. If we was in Japan or Asian country, it would be different because they prioritize that. They don't care about money over the people actually being healthy. Not in America. And I don't care if they took off one of my videos when I said that, something like that. They took it. TikTok never took my stuff there. They're going to take that down because it's the truth. Anyway.
It's crazy that you mentioned that because there was a video that I just saw where it talked about the difference between America's KFC and Jamaica's KFC, and the fact that Jamaica, like, they have chickens and they use like the actual chickens and stuff, and they don't actually give the probiotics and stuff like that. They said that's why Jamaica's chicken for KFC tastes better and everything.
That chicken, I remember the last time I ate chicken, I don't think it was KFC's, but the last time I had KFC chicken and I opened the back of it, in my opinion, it didn't look like chicken. It looked like tubes. And I never ate KFC chicken. I don't eat chicken. I haven't eaten in a while. If I didn't live here, I might eat it. But no, they allow too much. And we talked about this on a previous episode back last year, but I'll just emphasize it again. I know they're working on things, but those things are not in place. So do not get complacent with thinking, even food that they label as healthy, you have to be the captain of that ship when it comes to your health, because I'm telling you, they don't care about us. Michael Jackson made that song too, y'all. He did. Don't be complacent with your relationship. Make sure you keep doing whatever it took for you to get that person. Okay? Still go on dates. Still wow him and you wow her. Like the song Cater to You. Do something different. Make it smart. Man, let me tell you, my next relationship, boo bae, is going to be love. And hopefully it's the right person. And when they are the right people, you can't just be like, oh, I got them. And now you want to get fat. And now you, now you want to get, now you don't want to go to the gym no more. Now you don't want to cook no more because you got them. That's that Sarah mentality we talked about 2 damn episodes ago. That might be a little different, but you get what I'm saying. You want to, that's what it is the same thing. It's doing more. It's making, not taking advantage of the moments that we have, because moments are going to come and go. Life is short. Like, I still can't believe I'm 40. I still don't know how that happened. I really don't. Like, I look up, I still remember when I was a kid, right? But it's a fast blink. And if you chose them, keep pouring into them. Not just in romantic relationships, in your kids, in your friends. Friendships last and they continue. Like, I still have some of my childhood friends as my friends, but if I never talk to them again, does that maintain it? No. Don't become complacent. Not in your business life, finances, not in physically, okay? If you have had injury, that's one of the best examples. You got to keep maintaining it. You got to keep, nursing it. And if you are working on a healing journey, take it from me, y'all. I'm not saying you're never going to be healed, but I'm saying that you always need to just brush up on those things. I did personal development for years after year after year, where I wasn't listening to music. I'm reading book after book. I'm going to seminars. I'm picking people's brains. For years, I did that. And then I realized you got to keep doing that. You got to keep expanding your mind, because there's levels to everything, y'all. There's never a plateau unless you're dead, okay? And we don't want to wait to that point. So that's what I really wanted to emphasize in this show is, please don't be complacent. Don't be complacent, because every time I turn on Netflix, I'm reminded to not be complacent. I'm reminded to not think that so arrogantly that, oh, my business can't be swept from underneath my feet. You know what I mean? Robots might be trying to watch the kids. For all I know, I got to be on top of it, right? So with that being said, again, I want to thank everybody who's taken the time out to listen, to share. I mean, y'all are killing the online presence right now, right? The followers are going up, and I'm very grateful and thankful for such incredible support. Continue to watch every Wednesday at 6 a.m. You will see an episode drop. I'm glad to be off this break, and we're looking forward to continuing to share more truth on Z Truth Podcast. And until next time, love, peace, and hair grease. Bye.
Welcome to the Z Truth Podcast, where we have transparent, real, and thought-provoking conversations. Your host is Akira Casado, the author of 15 social media secrets that pay. So let's get real, get honest, and get started.